You hear me?
Tower Dakota 8122 Zulu, runway 22 at Alpha, ready for takeoff, and we'll go ahead and take that flight following over to Bloomington.
Hey. Transponder.
Dakota 8122 Zulu, Springfield Tower, Roger. I'll have a new code for you on the go.
So here's our transponder right here. And so we want to set it to standby mode for now, but we'll set it to altitude mode before we take off so they can pick us up on radar. Now, normally what we're going to do is they're going to give us a specific code to punch into our transponder so they can see us on radar. But for now, until they give us our code, we're going to squawk what's called VFR or 1200. And so what we can do is we can either just punch in 1200 or we can just hit the VFR button. So now our transponder's set. Okay, so looking at our, don't worry too much about the avionics for now, but this is where COM 1 is, and then this is COM 1 standby. So you can set a frequency in COM 1 standby that you can switch over to really quickly. So for example, like 1219 is ground control. And I'm going to be talking to them first, so I'm going to switch that up so I'm on them right now. So now I'm on Springfield ground on 1219. And then the one that's highlighted right here is your standby frequency. And that's the one you can change down here. Now, the reason you use standby frequencies is so that when you're ready to switch over, you preset it so you can just switch to it real quickly without having to dial it in. And then down here is where our COM 2 stack is. So if I want to switch between COM 1 and COM 2, I just hit this button over here. And so right now I got Springfield weather and then Springfield approach dialed in. So I've got all my frequencies set for what I need to do. Now, the first thing I got to do is I got to listen to the Springfield weather so I can, one, know what the local weather is, even though it looks fine. And then it'll also tell me what the weather code is and what the altimeter setting is, so I can set my altimeter. So I'll go ahead and...
Wind 220 at 8, weather pattern 5005, temperature 14, dew point 10, altimeter 2967, simultaneous visual approaches, runway 22 and runway 13, use advised to contact the hotel.
Okay, we have information hotel.
Information Hotel 1452 Zulu, wind 220 at 8, weather pattern 5005, temperature 14, dew point 10, altimeter 2967, simultaneous visual approaches, runway 22 and runway 13, use advised to contact the hotel.
Alright. So what they're doing is they're reading off the hourly weather report, and then they're attaching a phonetic alphabet code to it. So like right now it's hotel. In an hour, when they change it, it'll be whatever comes after H. I don't know, I'm bad with the alphabet. And they also tell us, so they're going to tell us information hotel, the winds, so they're going to tell us the wind direction and speed. So the wind direction is 220 at 8, and so 220 would be a southwest wind, basically. And then based on wind direction, that's going to tell us what runways they're probably going to be using, because which runway is going to give us like the most favorable headwind. They also tell us the temperature dew point spread. You'll hear them say temperature like 22, dew point 13. I usually don't write that down. You can. But really the only time you ever want to, I mean, you always want to pay attention to the temperature dew point spread, but where it becomes important is if they're within 5 degrees of each other, then you can expect haze or fog to form, because the closer in temperature they are, the more likely you are to get fog. They give us the altimeter setting, which changes every hour, and which you have to set up here on the altimeter, and you set what's called the Colesman's window. And what you're doing is you're setting the altimeter because as the day goes on, temperature and pressure in the air changes, and so you have to make a change on the altimeter. And so what you do is you just move this little dial, and then you just set it right there. So 2967 would be right about there. And so like that would be 2960, and then if you see like each little dash mark underneath it, that's going to be 0.2. And so like that would be like 2962, 2964, 66, and then for 67 I just put it in between the 7 or between the 6 and the 8. The other instrument I need to set is I got to set my attitude indicator so that my little miniature airplane is even with the horizon. You can just twist that to do that. And then I also have to make sure that my directional gyro or my heading indicator is slaved to my compass. So it's showing we're on 330, that's showing we're on 330, so that's good. So all those instruments are set. Radio navs, got those good. Okay, check brakes. Okay, so I'll show you how to do a quick brake check. So I'll just hold the brakes here. I'll Take that guy off. And what I'll do is I'll just give it a little bit of throttle. Let it go forward. Press on the brakes. Good brake check. Now you go ahead and put your feet up there. I'll let the throttle go. Go ahead and press them. All right, good brake check. And if you want, you can go ahead and scoot your seat up some, Steve, so you have better authority with the brakes there. Okay. So I'll kind of help and / talk through kind of as we taxi here, kind of how things work. So taxiing is all about power management, basically. So what you don't want to do is be riding the brakes the entire taxi. You want to be using the rudder pedals and then control your speed with power. So if you notice with the rudder pedals, the tops of the rudder pedals are where the brakes are. And so if I put my feet on the top of the rudder pedals, that's how I apply brake. Now, if I want to just use rudder, kind of follow along with my right foot here, I'm not going to use brake here. I'm just going to kick rudder over, and then if I want to tighten my turn, I just kind of add a little bit of top to it. Because the rudder can only do so much in a turn, and then at some point you're going to have to add a little bit of like inside brake to it, and that kind of helps tighten it up. Now, in terms of turning, in terms of how tight you can make a turn, or how quickly you can make a turn when you're taxiing, it's all based on power. Just like, if you've ever been on a boat or a jet ski, it's pretty hard to turn that thing or make a tight turn at idle power. You're not really getting any sort of turning authority. So if I need to make a tight turn, I got to make sure I've got a little bit of power in to do it. Now, when I'm just taxiing straight ahead here, I do not want to be riding the brakes. I just want to keep my feet on the rudder pedals and then manage my speed with power. So if I feel like I'm going a little slow, I can just push up a little bit of power and get some momentum. And once I got the momentum, I can bring that power back out. So it's just all about power management. Now, there's going to be days where you're taxiing with a tailwind, and even if you're taxiing at idle power with a tailwind, sometimes you get going too fast. It's not your fault. So what you have to do is then occasionally you have to add brake to kind of slow yourself down, or else you're just going to get too much momentum. Now, this is what we call the Charlie ramp, and there used to be an FBO here. There's not anymore. I think they're trying to build one now, but anyway. This is where we go to do our run-up, basically. So we just kind of come over here and so what you want to do is you want to align yourself so that the winds are in your face. And so the winds are 220. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bring my nose over here so that my nose is on 220. So I'm doing my run-up with a headwind. All right. Go ahead and set that parking brake. All right. Go ahead and grab the checklist and we'll go through the run-up. We do this every flight just to, make sure everything is working good and stuff like that. So brakes are set, flight control is free and correct. So we can do another flight control. So go ahead and bring it full left, full right, full back, full forward. Good. Okay, so the flight controls are working good. Mixture full rich, so go ahead and push that thing all the way up. Good. Throttle to 2,000, so go ahead and increase the throttle until you're at 2,000 on the RPMs. Alright, so now we're going to do what's called a magneto check. If you look down here, it says R and L. That stands for right and left magnetos. That's what powers our engine. Now, a magneto can fail in flight, but the other magneto can actually pick up the load and run the engine on it by itself. So what you're doing is you're rotating the key to run on just that magneto, and then you're checking the RPM drop, because if it's too excessive of a drop, then there's usually an issue with the magneto. And usually the issue is it's what's called spark plug fouling, which is where someone runs the engine basically too cold, and carbon can build up on the spark plugs, and then it causes that magneto to get a big drop. And so if you ever have that, like if you have an excessive drop, the way you burn that carbon off the magneto or off the spark plug is you lean the mixture back as far as you can without killing the engine, and then you push the power all the way up, and you just let it run there for like 5 minutes and let the engine get really, really hot, and hopefully that'll burn that stuff off. And then you can just retest it. So when you do this, we'll get it all the way up to 2,000 here. So go ahead and grab the key and rotate it to the left, and then watch the RPMs drop. So it dropped about 100. Okay, that's good. Back to both. Now rotate it over to the R. About 100. Back to both. And what you want to look, see how it says 125 and 50? What you're doing is you don't want either magneto to drop more than 125, and you don't want there to be more than a 50 RPM difference between the two. So like if one of them dropped 100 and one of them dropped 175, obviously that's more than 125 on one of them and it's more than 50 on another, but that's just like an example of what you're checking for. Now what we want to do is check carb heat. So like I said, we're putting hot air on the engine, so we know the carb heat's working if we see a drop in engine RPM, and that's what we're looking for. So go ahead and push that down. You see a drop in engine RPM, now bring it back up. Good, so now we know the carb heat's working. Engine instruments, so just start from the left and scan right. So oil pressure's green, oil temperature's in the green, alternator's charging, full of fuel, positive fuel pressure, and then the last thing we're checking is our suction gauge. And what this does is we use an engine-driven vacuum pump, and that's what powers these two instruments. And so you'll know you have positive vacuum pressure by looking at this vacuum, by this gyro suction thing. Now, like I said, it's an engine-driven vacuum pump, so the amount of vacuum pressure you're getting is dependent upon the amount of power you have in. So like if you watch this, and I pull power back, see like a steady drop off of vacuum pressure. And that doesn't mean the vacuum pump would ever quit with lower power. It just means you're not going to have as much because it's engine driven. All right. So let's see. Okay, we did the suction. Throttle back to 1,000. And then mixture, same thing. We want to lean it out for the taxi to save some fuel. That kind of fell back a little bit. We'll pull it back to about the U there for the taxi, because we want to, besides just letting the engine warm up, by leaning the mixture out during the taxi and stuff, you're putting less fuel into that carburetor, therefore you're burning less fuel on the ground, so you can maximize the amount of fuel you have in the air. And then all that stuff is what we'll do when we're holding short of the runway. So now what we'll do is, whenever you call to taxi, you always want to make sure you're ready to taxi when you call, because you don't want to call them up, get a taxi clearance, and then be sitting here for 5 minutes, because they're expecting you to go. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to call them right here. I'm going to go get a little bit closer to the taxiway so that when they give me the instructions, I can just go. Go ahead and take this guy off. I'll taxi us over there real quick. And once we get on the taxiway, I'll kind of give you the taxi and kind of let you play around with it. What? You got to put the... I can't hear you. Do you have a... Let me see this real quick. Alright, so... I'll play it. Alright, now. Okay, that was better. Let me... Okay, try it again. Still only getting... Yeah, it looks like you got those plugged in correctly, so... Go ahead, just keep talking, I'll see if I can... For some reason I can't, Now, when I change this, are you hearing it louder, or was that... Alright, so can you hear me with that all the way down, or is that just increasing the volume on what I'm hearing? Okay. Because for some reason your mic's not getting picked up. I can't hear you. Keep pressing that volume button up.
Or the Bluetooth.
There we go.
Oh, that was weird.
Now I got you.
Myself.
Yep, and that's how you know it's working. You should be able to hear yourself. Yeah, so you just had to turn that thing up is all it was. Okay, now I can hear you.
Ah.
Okay, now I got you.
Now.
Yep, I got you.
Testing. I don't think I was talking loud enough.
Okay. I'll turn the pilot squelch up too. Alright, hopefully that'll help a little bit.
Testing, yeah. I wasn't speaking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
To pick me up.
I gotcha. Alright, so, go ahead and taxi us over here.
What I was saying was, should I follow along on the pedals?
Yeah, go ahead. So when I call ground here, and we'll talk about this more so on the next couple flights, so don't worry about it too much, but whenever I call an ATC frequency for the first time, you always want to identify who they are first. So as I talk to them, I'm going to identify them as Springfield ground, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them my name, not my actual name, I'm going to tell them my tail number, and then I'm going to tell them where I'm at on the airport and where I want to go. So I'll say something like, Springfield ground, Cherokee 2182 Bravo is at the Charlie ramp, request a taxi for a west departure, and then and then I'll tell them I have information hotel because I want to verify that I've heard the weather on the field. And then they'll come back and they'll probably give me the departure frequency and a squawk code, and then once I punch that in, they'll give me my actual taxi instructions. Turn the volume up here. Make sure the radio's clear. Okay. Springfield ground, Cherokee 2182 Bravo. We're at the Charlie ramp with information hotel. Request taxi for west departure.
Cherokee 2182 Bravo, Springfield ground. Say you're on course heading in degrees and requested altitude.
270 5500, 82 Bravo.
82 Bravo, roger. Now, the correct altitude for Jackson, I fly would be an even altitude plus 500 feet.
Okay, we'll go to 4,500.
Cherokee 82 Bravo, roger. Now, are you going to the west practice area or are you going further west?
West practice area.
82 Bravo, roger. Runway 22, taxi via Charlie Bravo Alpha, cross runway 13 at Charlie.
22 via Charlie Bravo Alpha, across 13 at Charlie 82 Bravo. Okay, I guess he's not going to give me a squawk code. He's just going to give me shit for the altitude I chose. Alright, so what he did was he gave us the runway we're going to and then the taxiways we're going to go on.
Cherokee 82 Bravo, departure frequency 126.15, squawk 0313.
126150313, 82 Bravo. So he said go to 22 via Charlie Bravo Alpha, and 22's all the way down there. And so we'll taxi via those taxiways now. So as you can see, you see that sign up there with the C and the Y? So the black sign with the yellow lettering tells you the taxiway you're currently on. And so that means we're currently on Charlie. And then the ones with the yellow background and black lettering tell you like destination or location signs. So it's telling you to get on taxiway Yankee, you would either go left or right here. But we're going to stay on Charlie. And he gave us permission during the taxi instructions to cross this runway up here. Because normally, if he would have not given us permission to cross already, we would have to hold short up here and then call and get permission, because you can never taxi on to a taxiway or runway that you haven't been given clearance for. But he gave us clearance, so we can go ahead and continue on across. Alright, so we're on Charlie, and we know we need to get on Bravo, and 22's down there, so we're going to take a left on Bravo here, and as I come up to it, I want to start slowing myself down just like in a car, so I'm going to pull my power back and add a little bit of brake so that I don't go speeding into that turn. So now we're on Bravo, and then he said Charlie, Bravo, and Alpha. So if we look at this sign up here, Alpha's to the left and the right, but 22's down there. If you see that sign up there that says 4 and 22, that since 22's on the right side, we know 22's down there. So what we'll do is we'll follow this line right here to the right, and we'll go all the way down to runway 22. We'll just head all the way down. Alright, so you can go ahead and take over the taxi, Steve. I'll hold the checklist for you. And go ahead and put one hand on the throttle. And that's how you control your speed. So this is a pretty good speed here. So if we need to go left, go ahead and kick that left rudder over a little bit. And what you want to do is get your eyes looking down the taxiway just like you're driving a car. There you go. And now the goal is just to keep the nose wheel on this yellow center line. Nice, good job. A little bit more right rudder. There you go. And once you're on center line, it just becomes about making small inputs to keep it on center line. Alright, so we're going to be making a turn up here, so go ahead and start adding some brakes, but make sure you add them evenly on both sides. So they're on the tops of the rudder pedals, there you go. So just pick your feet up and put the top of your feet, there you go. And then just kind of bring it over to the left here, because we're going to come up here. And then this is the hold short line here. So right here, we'll go ahead and fully apply the brakes. Good. We'll bring it to a full stop. And then we'll go through the before takeoff checklist.
Or where the brake was.
Yeah. And so when I like to, if I'm gonna be coming to a like a full stop where I really need to get on the brakes, what I do is if you watch my feet, I don't try and like just flex my calves to get them, because then you're just gonna like cramp yourself to death trying to get the brakes to stop. So what I do is if I'm gonna be coming to a full stop, I just pick my feet up and I put them on the tops there, and I'm able to apply maximum force to them.
Better.
Alright, so before takeoff checklist, so fuel to the fullest tank. We've been running on the left tank, and we'll keep running on it for about 30 more minutes. So what I'll do is I'll start our timer there. Trim set, yeah, okay, that's fine. Flaps, we're going to keep them down.
Where's the fuel tank?
Over there on the left. Nope, you see down by your left leg.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and so when we have to change it, what we'll do is we'll turn the fuel pump on, you'll rotate that to the right tank, and then we'll turn the fuel pump off. Mixture full rich, so go ahead and push that red thing all the way up. There you go. Carbeats off. Altimeter set, we got that, 2967. EG set, so let's check that, 330, good, we'll recheck that on the runway. Transponder is on altitude mode. Electric fuel pump on. We're always going to take off and land with the fuel pump on, so you can go ahead and turn that on. And then, and then also turn the landing light on as well. Autopilot's off. Didn't even work in this airplane. Doors closed, good. Windows, go ahead and close that. Okay. And strobes on, those are connected to the anti-collision lights, so those are good. Alright, so for the takeoff, what we're going to do is we'll taxi out to the runway, line up with center line, and then the way it works is you'll get your feet off, you want to make sure you have